Hello, I am demoing the fire-seeking robot. Okay, just quickly to go through the code. Um, just to go through the code. Uh, the pins are defined here. Temperature thresholds are defined here, so it will move from the idle to the seeking state at 27 degrees Celsius. To move from the seeking to the target acquired and then the extinguishing state at 45 degrees Celsius. These are arbitrary numbers which can be adjusted uh, if need be. These are the states. There's an idle state where the vehicle is still. There's a seeking state where it is actively seeking for the source of the rising temperature. There's a target acquired state where the sources are acquired, and then there's an extinguishing state, and there's a verifying state to see that there is indeed a decrease in temperature. Uh, Variables are defined here, such as the current state, the initial current state, which is idle, the initialization of the sensor, the extinguishing time, uh, initial extinguishing time, which of course will be 0, the duration, which will be 3 seconds, and this last seek move time initializes um, so that the step duration of the seek step, which I'll explain later, is accurately executed. Then this is just the interval for each move of the seek step, which I will explain later. Uh, the pins are set up as input and output pins in the setup function. Um, Similarly, the initial state of the motor and the fan and the sensor and the baud rate are set. Then the sensor is read, the fan is set off, the fan, of course, being the extinguisher. There is a message if the sensor is failing to read due to a poor connection, usually. And then there's a printout of the temperature at the time. In the idle state, that relevant state is printed to the serial monitor, as can be shown here from the previous run of the program. And then if that temperature goes above that seeking threshold defined earlier as 27 degrees, the state will change to seeking. Similarly, in the seeking state, if the target threshold is reached, then it could be changed to target acquired. And in the if that state is reached, the motor stops and it begins extinguishing. And the extinguishing state is implemented, in which the extinguishing happens until such a time as that extinguishing time has elapsed, and it goes into the verifying state. In the verifying state, it verifies the decrease in temperature and changes the state accordingly. And then that is the loop of the entire program with a slight delay for stability. Okay, these are the motor control functions. To move forward, you set the motor um, voltages in this manner so that you have the right polarity to move forward, backwards, left, and right, and to stop, of course. The seek move pattern is executed by moving in those four directions until obviously you experience that change in temperature. And then the change in temperature will begin the extinguishing part of the program. Uh, and that is basically how the code works.
Fine. Um, this is the fire-seeking robot. This is the fan, which has been mounted on the front. Come into focus. Yeah, this is the fan. This is the sensor. This is the Arduino microcontroller board. That is the motor controller. That is the battery which was added to supply more power. Uh, and then at the moment it is in the idle state. Okay. We simulate the heat with a heater. You can see the temperature beginning to rise. Switch back, forward, left, right, back, forward, left, right, back, forward, left, right, back, forward, left, right. So it will seek and come closer. Eventually, it's gone past now. Okay, it will move and move in this direction or that direction till it comes to this point. So the directional is very important. The directional one is very important. Directional heat seeking. So it's coming there and it will eventually turn around. Yes, it will eventually turn around. Okay, I'll move to the fan. Okay, here's the fan. It is spinning as would as would be the case at the extinguishing state. The fan is connected to pin 8 like so, with the black wire being connected to ground, and it spins at high temperature. Very difficult to film this otherwise. Apologies for that. I didn't know the fan would be so weak and small.
Okay, just a recap. The states, by and large, individually execute the heat seeking to do with lots of improvement in terms of the moving towards a rising temperature and the directional aspect of the sensor. Other things are elaborated upon in the report in terms of what improvements can be made. But on the whole, um, the motors did move, the extinguishing fan did execute, and um, the states did happen according to the temperature at which they were supposed to happen. So, in closing, then, uh, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. Bye.